Hello, everybody. I'm Craig Hummer. Unfortunately, for the second day in a row, drugs are dominating the headlines here in France. Yesterday, it was a domestique for the Barlow World team. Today, it is one of this year's Tour de France superstars, Italian rider Riccardo Ricco. Here is what we know at the moment. He has tested positive for SERA, which is a new form of EPO that happened after stage number 6. He has been expelled from this year's Tour. I now welcome in the whole gang, Phil Liggett, Paul Sherwin, and Bob Roll, and it's an understatement, isn't it, guys, to say that we're all depressed and distressed by this news. But Phil, first to you. I've asked you this a few times over the past couple weeks. Where does this leave cycling? How devastating is this to the Tour?
Well, you know, what more can we do? They've got all the drug testing in place. I think this proves, and it must throw a big shadow over the performance of Riccardo Ricco now in the recent Giro d'Italia. But Ricco here has been caught and probably didn't think that we were able to test, we being the organisation and the drug testers in France, were able to test for this new EPO he's found. And they've caught him. And the whole team have gone, but this is absolutely breaking news as we talk to you. We don't know whether the team has gone in sympathy with Ricco, in protest against the organisation, voluntary, or what.
Well, Paul, you have been on the internet since we found out this news, trying to find out about this new drug. Now, what have you undertaken?
Well, basically what we're talking about here is SERA. It's a third-generation EPO, and probably some idiots out there thought that they might not be able to get caught because it's taken in very, very low dosages, maybe below what they thought was testable. However, I think, as angry as I am against Riccardo Ricco, I am happy, as Phil is, on the side of the drug testing agencies, because Riccardo Ricco and all the other riders who've been caught so far, I believe, have been targeted. All of the riders in the Tour de France at the start of the Tour were tested, and a certain number of anomalies were noted, around about 10 riders. And since then, the doping tests, the random doping tests that have been carried out, have not been random. They've been looking at specific riders, testing them 2, 3, 4 times until they come up with the goods. I think it sends out a strong message. Don't cheat, because you will now get caught.
Bob, as a former member of the Pro Peloton, coming off of what Paul just said, how much more of a clear message do the riders have to be sent?
Well, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and I paid a very heavy cost to race natural during my career, and I find out more and more how heavy that price was. And even now, as a broadcaster on the race, I start to wonder about my own resolve to follow this very difficult event. And when the guys that we're watching, we're lionizing these guys, they're making incredible efforts. When we find those to be false, that those aren't true, it's devastating, and it makes you want to quit the Tour. And there's going to come a time, if they continue to do this, where we can't have this race. And that would be a very sad day.
There have been some shakeups in the top 10 because of the result of not only Riccardo Ricco, but certainly Sonia Duval leaving. This is what the Michelob Ultra standings look like. And, Paul, there's been no change amongst the top 5.
Not amongst the top 5. Still pretty much the same. Cadel Evans with a 1-second advantage over Frank Schlecken. Still right up there in threatening position, Christian van der Velde. And in 5th place, Denny Menchov, the Russian rider who everyone is saying is a man for the next week.
Soster's there, still in 6th. Kim Kierken stays in 7th. But then, Bob, that's where the changes start.
Ricco and Kobo from Sonia Duval out of the Tour. Efemkin moves up. Mikel Osterloza and Nibali moves into top 10.